All right. Hi there, everyone. My name is Natalie Vlatko. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the co-chairs of SIG Docs. This is a SIG Docs biweekly community meeting, and today is Tuesday, the 26th of November, 2024. I will note that it is also the week happening later this week is American Thanksgiving. So we may have a little bit less participation and focus on the call today and a little bit less to chat about. But as a heads up, we do have some interesting deadlines around docs coming up for the current release. Let's kick off for today. Firstly, I want to remind folks, given that this is a Kubernetes meeting, we do abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. That means we want folks to be respectful to each other and kind, not only in meetings like this one, but also when they're interacting via Slack, PRs, or issues, anywhere that the Kubernetes community of contributors and maintainers collaborate and communicate. Okay, with that being said, is anyone on the call new to SIG Docs that wants to unmute and say hi? It's okay if not. It's also fine if you would prefer to just pop it in chat instead. That's also really okay. While we're just waiting on that, I am going to very quickly put the agenda in the chat once again for folks who need it. But with that, if anyone it does join that they're new and wants to say hello later, they can do so. We'll kick on with the rest of our agenda for today. As I just mentioned, this week is American Thanksgiving. So with some of the updates and reminders I'll go through that is impacting some of that for this week. We don't have a PR wrangler this week because of that time frame. However, we do have a lot of folks from SIG Docs approvers who are around this week if you do need for docs freeze related purposes, if you need some more reviews. Daniel, just shout out to you. Thanks for already sharing some of those in the SIG Docs channel. It's appreciated. However, next week's PR Wrangler will be Kat Cosgrove, and Kat will be shadowed by Rizaldi. And then the following week's PR Wrangler is going to be Ray Lahano, who is another one of our co-chairs. Kat's one of our tech leads. Ray couldn't be online today as Ray's on vacation. And then being shadowed by Ray will be Aline as well. So approvers, please make sure that you know your roster. It is the end of the year, so it is thinning out specifically for the end of year vacation that folks usually take. But we do still have a few weeks left specifically around release. So remember to look at your shifts. Now, for issue wrangling, again, no wrangler this week because of American Thanksgiving. However, next week's issue wrangler will be Ray Lahano. And this is for those who are reviewers of SIG Docs. Remember to also check out the issue wrangler schedule. It'll be good to keep up to date with those as well. Finally, for folks who are interested in making sure that they've got this meeting on their agenda, and then they can always join, you'll need to join the SIG Docs Google group for that to take place. And then the calendar invites and access to this agenda are then given to you. So click on that link here in our doc here to join the Google group, and you'll be able to get access to add things to our agenda as well. All right, now let's kick on to the agenda itself for release 132. We do have some updates from our release teams, and we will start with docs.
Cool. Hey, thanks everyone. So today is docs freeze, one of the 3 best days of the year. So I will say, I guess we're expected to kind of report red here today. There are a few more docs that are outstanding. So I think I'm tracking only 6 that are left and ready for review, but 1 is in draft still. And that's because it's a bit of a complicated situation. They're waiting for a kubectl PR merge before they merge theirs. So I think that is one of the 3 that are looking like they'll need exceptions. I think in terms of the other 2 best days of the year are the other 2 docs freezes for the other releases. But yeah, so that's kind of our status here. I think we aren't looking too bad. I think there's only 3 that are looking like they're going to slip. I think the other ones we're working actively with the SIG leads as well. So, and thanks to everyone, Natalie, Kat, Tim, all of you guys who are pulling out the extra shifts to do some reviews today. Well, thank you so much. We're super appreciative of that.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Daniel. I see that you answered Shannon's question in the chat too, which is really good. Sure. And also thanks for commenting and reporting that your doc status is red. These things do happen. Always before docs freeze, that's gonna take place. That there might be one or two or three at this stage looking like they need exceptions. But I think I actually have seen an exception already come through for one, possibly given that they know that they won't make the deadline. So that's great. I'm online for another couple of hours after this, and I know a few other folks of our reviewers are too, so we can try and make sure we can make that docs deadline for folks today. I believe it's 6 p.m. Pacific for the deadline. Great. I'm just going to quickly add that as well. 6 p.m. Pacific. Awesome. Okay, thanks so much, Daniel. And does anyone have any questions for our release docs team? Nope. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's now move over to the other side of the reporting spectrum for release comms.
Hi, folks. So for the comms, our status is thankfully green, and we have 6 blogs being tracked at the moment, 5 under review and 1 being in a placeholder draft state. But the deadline is extended to 30th of November, so we have a bit of a time. And also release blog is being tracked and being reviewed under pull request here. So our overall status is green. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rhoda. Does anyone have questions? I believe Tim does. Yes.
So watch out for something, and the thing to watch out for is the blog team. The blog team is seriously under capacity, and you're going to be relying on them for reviews. So you might want to rethink that green. I think if you're aware of that and you're like, considering that I know the blog team is seriously under capacity, I think it's green. That's one thing. If you hadn't thought of that and you want to rewind and say, actually, I've got another number in mind, I'm fine with that. But I want to make sure that we're aware of that shortness of capacity.
Last release, we had, I think, double or even triple the number of blogs. This release is just 6. So my rationale, because it's me that I put green, is all of them are ready for review. Some of them also already have some content review already done. I think at least one has needs just to wait for SIG to give the final okay. So it's looking pretty good. Now, is that a green? Maybe not. Maybe we can say yellow, it's fine. But I would say that in respect for other releases, this is pretty green.
Well, your bus factor is kind of 1, because basically I'm the only active blog approver. I do watch out for that bus factor.
Yeah, I totally understand. I go straight to the PR Wrangler.
Right.
Now for the approval process, maybe I'm missing something here. Who's able to approve?
I could probably help with 1 today. I don't think I've got capacity for more than about 1 today.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer your question, Matteo, technically for blogs, all of us who are approvers for SIG docs can approve.
Oh, okay.
However,
Okay.
Ownership, like Tim was trying to say, ownership of the blogs overall in terms of who does the majority of reviews, there is one active reviewer, and that is Tim. I had said earlier in the release that I was going to help with some blogs for this time around for sure, and I will be after today, given that there's a docs deadline. So that's my
Yeah, exactly.
my priority first, right? So I do agree with your assessment of green given the time frame, but I also agree with Tim's note about the bus factor. And I think you've done the right thing to look at the comparisons from prior releases. Tim, maybe we can chat about how we can put information around either availability of reviewers or how many reviewers are around this time for the blog team, for the release comms team, sorry, so that can be included in a future update.
Yeah, I guess the worry I have is that people go, we were green, and then the last minute we just about got it done, so everything's fine. And then the next release, they're like, "Where's Tim?"
Yeah,
Because
sure.
eventually I will move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Yeah, I definitely think that's a very good call out for a bigger picture issue around how we rely on feature blog reviews as opposed to a specific issue with this update for this specific meeting. Yeah. So absolutely hear you there. I will say also that I think you mentioned, Matteo, can I just double check? There are some blogs that have received some review already. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's add that in there. 5 under review. Some let me have received. Okay, great. Just so that there's a bit more clarity around exactly where we're up to with some of this. This is great.
And if you want to also add that the placeholder one, I'm in touch with the author itself, and it's gonna be ready for the 30th unless something happens, but we should be okay.
Right. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would say probably so we do our next community meeting is December 10th, which is the day before the merge deadline. So clearly that would change a status update if nothing was properly reviewed, as you likely know. I do think for now it is looking greenish. So yeah.
Should we update it to yellow just because of the uncertainty? And I do think that it's rather transparent if we do say yellow rather than green, perhaps. What do you think, Matteo?
I would probably keep it green for this meeting for docs, but since we have a weekly meeting coming and the burn down, we can always put it yellow in the release meeting part.
Yeah, I think a week from now, if nothing has changed about this status and it's still all the same, that absolutely warrants the status change. Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense.
Great. Any other questions or comments for release comms? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Oh yeah, I do have a comment. Like,
yeah.
folks, you're doing a really good job. Every release for the last few releases, the release comms and the docs process has been getting better. We're going to run out of things to improve, you know, like it's looking nice, honestly. Like when I started contributing to Kubernetes docs, the lead up to the release, and the days before the release were a panic. You know, so if your release day was 10th of December, it'd be the 9th of December, and a third of the docs weren't ready. So this is so much better in our comms and docs.
Yeah, big agree. A huge round of applause to all the teams working on this, and also just generally being open to a lot more transparent status updates too, because that was also for us. And again, why Tim mentions it, we often would get literally a week before everything was green up until a week before, when then it was all coming crashing down. So this is really good in terms of updates and status. Thank you.
Part of why I put green is that we've been yellow for like many weeks now. So we were all excited to put some green and like use it as a cheering for the whole team.
That's nice to hear. All right. Any further comments for comms or docs on the release side? Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for the updates. There'll be folks online for more of this day and also throughout the week for some of the reviews. I will say end of week will be the quiet time, given that the American Thanksgiving falls on this Thursday. But yeah, we'll definitely be trying our best. I'm just monitoring chat that's going on as well here. Thanks, Shannon and Nate for chatting about where the priority is on reviewing PRs. I agreed with Tim that reviewing docs PRs absolutely is, as in the docs that need to be in for this release PRs, absolutely as a first prior, and then looking at if you have capacity to do blog reviews that are needed for this release for the feature blogs, that would be, I think, a second priority there as well. So thank you so much, Shannon, for chatting on that. If you feel that for folks who aren't doing a lot of reviews or would like to, you can absolutely start doing reviews if you wish to. We don't always need someone who has the right permissions to do a review. Unofficial reviews are always helpful and welcome. And you can start on any smaller PRs that you wish to as well. Feel free to start reviewing. We would love to get your contributions that way. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the agenda for the issues in PRs. Matteo, it's back to you with the release blog.
It's just the start of the review cycle. I got some comments. It would be great to get a general review once docs freeze is done. That's like maybe second priority, I would say, more than the feature blogs. As in, if we lose a feature blog, in a way, it's okay. If we lose the release blog, it's not okay.
Definitely agree. I can see there's some reviews here already coming in from Patrick, which is great. But yeah, just reiterating what you've just mentioned, which is reviews on that blog coming after the docs deadline would be great, which is only in a few hours' time as well, anyhow. But yeah, thank you so much. Feel free to also, Matteo, much like Daniel did too, if you need to ping us in SIG Docs blog or in SIG Docs for reviews on this, as well as needing us to help muscle down some KEP and KEP owners and SIG leads who need to help with this, let us know and we can do so.
Thank you. I am avoiding this for the docs freeze, but after that I'll be on it.
That's very kind of you and a very good idea. Okay. Any other comments on the release blog?
Nope.
Great. Then does anyone have any other issues or PRs they'd like to bring up in today's meeting? Tim.
We obviously, this is because I'm here rather than because it's urgent, but like we've upgraded Doxy recently to version 0.3, and we've got some work underway from I don't know how to say the chap's name actually. Is it Patrice Charlan?
Patrice, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrice.
Yeah. If I'm saying that wrong on the recording, I apologize. I will learn another time. But yeah, we have this work, and I imagine post release we might be able to turn back to upgrading Doxy. We're quite a long way behind. We were, I don't know, 2 years behind or something with the release of Doxy, and now we're less behind, but still a long way back.
Yeah, you had a few PRs that came through, Tim, for some that you were doing incrementally for some of those smaller changes, and I did see a couple that you ended up closing or at least holdings because workload and different possible different approach was needed. But I like your thinking around doing so after the release. It will, as a possible counterpoint, that will mean there'll be less people around to review your work if it's going to be around the holiday season, just as a possible timing part there as well. But I think if you've got the time to do some work and we've got time to do some reviews, that'd be great.
It may not be my work. Like this works great if it is a team effort.
Yes.
So there'll be some people, I don't know how many people, but some people are like, yeah, I don't actually know Kubernetes well, but I do web dev. I understand how to do CSS or understand how to check CSS and point out the problems with the website. So there's lots of different kinds of work that will be available pretty soon, next month. And I guess one thing I'd like from people is to think about how you can help. Like if you're thinking, hey, my browser's being a bit funny. Sorry, Zoom's being a bit funny. I'd like to help, but I'm not quite sure what's right for me. Have a think and say, can I offer this kind of help? Because maybe you can. Maybe we can find a way for you to do some help that we didn't think to ask for.
Great, thank you, Tim. Any other questions or comments on our slow and steady upgrade through Doxy? All right, thanks so much. Just checking the chat here. Yes, great points, Shannon. Also nice to try different parts of the docs project and see what you connect with. Definitely, we have a couple of different sub projects in docs, a website being one of them, which is where a lot of this doxy work goes, but also our localization and also the blog. So like definitely different areas of SIG docs that you can be participating in to like figure out what's right for you. Okay, we're going to move on to the last part of our agenda, which is questions and discussion points. And I actually have one that I'm going to read out here. So at the end of each year, for folks who don't know us in the SIG leadership, we have a few SIG housekeeping things that we like to get started on for the new calendar year. We'll be pruning maintainers. That's one thing that we often try and do each year. So folks who haven't done a lot of contributing or reviewing and may need to kind of come off certain lists and so on, we try and do a bit of pruning if need be. But what we also do is we get a bunch of content ready for the annual report, which we'll need to write early next year as well for the CNCF. And that is also something that a lot of us co-leads contribute to. But we also redo the Wrangler and the Wrangler rotations for both PR Wrangler and Issue Wrangler. And that is my job this year. So for folks who are interested in issue wrangling, I want to put a call out that if anyone wants to be on the rotation for issue wrangling in 2025, it may not be it may not be good for super new contributors, but for folks who've been around docs for a little while, who think that they would like to have a shot at figuring out and helping out us to triage different issues coming in, to understand and better explain within issues what certain bugs or things are coming in that we need to fix, how we can better label our issues for newer contributors coming in and so on. Issue wrangling is a really great way to do that and help out in docs that isn't only reviews of work. And you don't need to be an approver with amazing permissions to do so. You can have been part of the community and interested in features and work that SIGDocs is doing to be able to contribute to issue wrangling. So for folks who want to be on that rotation, please reach out to me. I'll be doing these new rosters in the next week or so and publishing them too.
Question, when somebody is both an issue wrangler and a PR wrangler, do you try to pair up those weeks, or do you try to specifically split those weeks?
We do try and split them. We've had like a hiccup here or there when it hasn't happened. But we would prefer that a PR wrangler shift and an issue wrangler shift happen at different times so that you're not doing a bunch of work in one. People may choose to actually want to do that instead. And if that is a thing, please, for PR wranglers in particular, please come and see me. I just wanted to address the question from Shannon. Does it get set at the start of the year, these wrangling rotations, or is there an option to get added during the year? There's absolutely, Shannon, an option to get added during the year. For PR wrangling, I always try and do a year ahead so that folks can better plan their own work, given that the PR wrangling is a little bit more sometimes labor intensive. But issue wrangling, last year we actually did it quarter by quarter. So that's something I'm happy to do as well. Or those of us who are on the PR wrangling shift are always happy to give up an issue wrangling shift if need be. So we can always add you throughout the year as well, Shannon. That's no problem at all. Or you can choose to say, hey, if you're doing the whole year, can I start mid-year wrangling for issues? That's also fine. And I'm also happy to accommodate those requests. Cool. Any questions or comments about the wrangling schedules that are going to soon be created for 2025? All right. Thanks. Now, this is the last call out. That was the last specific agenda item that we have. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring up or chat about in today's meeting? No? Going once? All right. Thanks, everyone. I know we all have a bit of work to do the next few days. But what we also have to do over the next few days, given that on the American side of things, it'll be a bit quiet, feel free to also take a small break if you've got the capacity and you've done all your work. It's okay for the project collectively to have a little chill moment while while the powers that be on the American side are themselves having some time off too. So don't forget to also chill out and have a bit of time off, especially over weekends. Be with your family, hanging out at gigs or shows or reading or whatever other things you like to do. Okay, thanks everyone for joining for today. Thanks to all the great work that's coming out of the release teams for docs and comms. Thanks to our reviewers. Thanks to our literally one-person blog review team for the moment, and has been for some time. But we're really going to try and invest some more into that. If you are interested in blog reviewing and doing that a bit more regularly, please reach out to us. Please reach out to us. But other than that, have a great week. Have a great weekend for our American friends. Have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next time on December 10. Bye, everyone.